I don't know what the heck with people think about money, but that's what I get a lot of, is kind of this, money's not spiritual. I'm just saying it's your attitudes, the person's attitude towards money. I make a lot of money, but I give a lot, you know what I mean? It goes to biblical principle, the more you give, the more you receive. So when I meet somebody doesn't have any money, it just means they're not giving something. So a lot of times there's people who would like more, but they're not giving anything. So they're like my poor dad. He belonged to the labor unions, and he wanted to work less and get paid more. Well, that's anti-religious to me. If you want to get paid more, work more, give more. That's how I see it.
Well, most successful entrepreneurs have gone bust. Henry Ford, an old-time entrepreneur, he went bust 5 times. Look at Steve Jobs. His own board fired him. Bill Gates was taken before the Supreme Court for monopolistic practices.
Right.
Even my friend Donald Trump went down $1 billion.
Yeah.
I only went down $1 million. So the average person is so afraid of those losses, they never get ahead. Because at school they teach you if you make a mistake or if you fail, you're a failure. But that's not real life. The baby learns to walk by standing up and falling down, standing up and falling down. And our school system punishes you for making mistakes. That's why my poor dad, an academic, was so unsuccessful. He was terrified of making mistakes.
My attitude is this: if you're going to be a real entrepreneur, you have to be a lifelong learner. I am studying, learning constantly. I never stop. And that's my competitive advantage. But also my core advisor team, we never stop together. I have my accountants, my attorneys, the bankers and all that, we study together. That's what we do, we get together. We don't play golf, we don't drink beer, we study. Because study is the way you learn. But you have to know what you're studying, because what you put in here, garbage in, garbage out, right? I think you have to be careful is who's your teacher, who's your mentor.
The one thing they all have in common, I think, is they're hungry. And I know that sounds simplistic, but I believe that's the single most important element that separates the quality of people's lives. It's not just the ability to have hunger, but to sustain it. Hunger means that you want more. You want more of yourself. You want to make a bigger difference. You want to be a better parent. You want to do something more than there is today, and that you don't get satisfied. Most people start out with hunger at an early stage of life and they lose it. But the people that come to me are hungry either because something's happened, they've had a birthday with a 0 on it, they've gone through a divorce, they're starting a business and they know I've got to have a different level, or they're the best in the world and they're always looking for that edge that makes the difference. I think everybody is born with hunger. Like there's a desire to grow, to expand, to learn, and then disappointment sets in early in life for most people. And then we look to blame something outside of ourselves. And there are many events in our lives that can affect us all. We've all had pain and challenges. But I think if you can find within yourself the part of you that wants to constantly give something more than yourself, if you can find a mission larger than yourself, then you're more pulled to do something than trying to push yourself. And pull has much more power than push. I always say motive does matter. That if your motive is to serve something greater, there is an energy that comes up inside of you. So I feed 2 million people a year because somebody fed my family when I was 11 years old, and now this year we're feeding 4 million. I want to do more in that area. And every business I'm in, that drive just doesn't go away. What's interesting, since 2008, you've seen most large enterprise companies have really figured out how to respond to the world economic crisis at that time by cutting, right? They figured out how to cut their costs, they grew their bottom lines, and they built up their cash. And so they've done very well. But that was 5 years ago, and it's getting hard to keep cutting. You can't cut your way to growth at this point. So most major corporations are now saying, what do we do about the top line? How do we really grow revenues and sales? And so I built something called Coaching in the Cloud, which we've done for some of the most successful companies in the world. And what it does is it comes in and it revamps the sales process